Hey, welcome back to Karen's Papercraft. Thank you very much for watching. Wat leuk dat je weer kijkt. Dankjewel. If you need a card for a birthday, I think this design is perfect for you. Thanks to the bottom, it stays upright and you can admire it from all sides. If you want to find out how you can make it, come and join me. You can see that the card can be looked at from all sides. And I love these soft colours that I've picked. They're really in the style of an ice cream parlour. It's fold flat, see? And you can send it in a standard Stampin' Up envelope. This is the right size for it. And of course I've decorated the envelope as well with the stamp set. And I'll show you which one I've used. Share a milkshake with the matching dies, which are really lovely. And for the sentiment, I've used The Biggest Wish with this lovely font here. I'm going to show you how you can stamp the bowls, and it's a two-step stamping process, and how you can stamp the ice cream or whipped cream if you like on top, and then of course how you can make the card. I have a tip for you with this two-step stamping method. You can see that here. There's a solid stamp and there's a detail stamp. And I always start with a detail stamp and then I stamp the solid stamp on top of that. I find that it's much easier to see where you are stamping. So I'll put them on the block. This is a D block. And I've used colour combinations, the following. I've used the Lost Lagoon and Shaded Spruce, the darker colour, for the detail, Boho Blue and Blueberry Bushel. And for this one I'm going to use Berry Burst and Bubble Bath, which go together beautifully. And then of course I've used Sweet Sorbet for the straw, and I've used Shaded Spruce for the sentiment, also on the envelope. So first, as I said, I'm going to stamp the detail. That's this one. And the detail I'm stamping off because it is rather dark. And you can see here how an idea starts with me. I have this scrap paper. I draw a sketch and then I start trying things out and stamping. So I can fold this double and use the back of it. So, inking it up, stamping it off just once and then stamp onto the paper. See, it's a nice soft colour now. I didn't want the colours too dark. And then I'm going to use the lighter colour, in this case Bubble Bath, to stamp over that. Now with all the other stamps, the two other ice cream bowls, I stamped off the full-sized stamp as well, but with Bubble Bath I'm not going to, because that is a light colour in itself. So I'll just move this over a bit and look from the top where I should be stamping. And as you can see through the stamp, you can line it up with the darker colour and then stamp it. See? Beautiful alignment. I'm also, excuse me, I'm also going to stamp the whipped cream. In my case, I've chosen for whipped cream. And I'll put my stamps over here. I've already cleaned them. This is the large one. I've already made more of the elements for my card to save some time. Here you have whipped cream for the two smaller bowls, and here you can see the two smaller bowls. The cherries I've already made, and the hearts I've die cut, and a spoon I've die cut as well. So I'm going to show you how you can make the cream. Again, you're going to stamp, but I'm going to use, do I need a larger stamp? No, this will be okay. Just a piece of scrap paper. Oh well, I can do it on this one, can't I? And I'm going to use Versamark, and then the white stamping emboss powder, and I'm going to heat set that. So you ink up your stamp with Versamark, make sure it is well inked, and then you stamp it, and then you pour the embossed powder on top and heat set that. Because I'd been die cutting earlier, there was some sticky residue from holding this die down where the powder stuck to, so I used the brush to brush the powder away, and then I'm going to die cut these two. I always use sticky tape for die cutting. Maybe just that little bit of extra work, but it means that while die cutting your images don't slide away from under the dies, and it prevents you from stamping them again. The nice thing about these larger die is that here you see there's a slit inside, and that is just right to take the straw. So you can open it up a bit and then slide in the straw, and then I secure this with a stamping dimensional. I want the dimension on my card anyway, and the dimensional holds it in place beautifully. I'll add one more there, so this is ready for later on, and this can go into my box as well. Okay. I've die cut the spoon from some silver foil, and I put some adhesive sheet on the back. You could do without it, but I had a piece of adhesive sheet anyway on some silver foil, you see, and then you can peel the backing paper off, and then you can use that to die cut the spoon. I've die cut the hearts in some sweet sorbet. They are there ready to go onto the card as well. And that's it, I think. Yeah, and the cherries are from the same die set. I die cut them in Whisper White, and I hand colored them, and I'll put a link to that on how I do that at the end of this video to show you how you can make the cherries. Right, then I think I've shown you everything. I'm going to show you the card itself. You need a piece of thick basic white. I've chosen thick because it is more sturdy, and the size is 4 by 5 inches, which is 10.2 by 12.7 centimeters. You need 2 pieces of soft seafoam, which are, to start out with, 4 1/8 by 4 7/8 in centimeters. That is 12.4 by 10.5. When I've finished with them, I'm going to cut off 1/8 of an inch, but I'll show you. So this is for the upright of the card, and this is for the 2 bars at the bottom. And I've drawn lines on them as well, just to give it a sort of tiled look, as you can see. How do I do that? Well, I'm taking this piece of, you see this is a bit wider now, this is still 4 1/8, this is 4 inches now. And to draw the lines, I use my grid paper, a ruler, and the soft seafoam stamping blend. And I'm going to start with the 4 7/8 inch side top, so the 12.7 centimeters top. And I'm not putting it on the grid paper where you get exactly half-inch lines, but I'm putting it 1/4 inch to the right, and then I'm going to draw lines at the half-inch, and I need the bullet tip. So every half-inch I'm going to draw a line across the paper. It's easy to see on the grid paper, and you can see that here where you start drawing you get these blotches. Well, I don't want the blotches. Oh, I forgot to draw that line, sorry. At the 1/4 inch you draw a line as well. There we go. And then you go across like this, and here you can put it against the middle grid line and then just draw at half-inch intervals, that's okay. Any blotches at this end won't show, but these would. So, as I explained earlier, this was 4 1/8 to start with, and I'm cutting it down to 4 inches. So in centimeters, I'm going to cut off 1/8 of an inch. Oh, what's that? You take away 3 millimeters. See? And now it has a beautiful side. This then, you're going to score, and you put the longer side top, so the 4 7/8 inch top, and then you score at 1 inch, at 2, 3, and 4, and you do the same thing with the other piece. Then you fold all the score lines, and you have one end which is just a bit short. You can see when you fold that in, it leaves plenty of space, and on that small piece you're going to put some tear and tape to adhere the two together. Well, not the two, to create this square bar. Don't know what to call it. Bollockje, blokje. Even in Dutch I wouldn't know the name for it. I'm just calling them the two bars. Or the things that help you keep the card upright. Now then, you fold that one over and remove the backing paper, but first I'm going to make sure that it adheres well. And then I can fold over that edge. Fold it across a couple of times to make sure it is supple. And the same thing here. You can see where the bar is glued together, so when I adhere them together I make sure that this glued bar is on the bottom so that it doesn't show. See, I've put them in the middle and here against the bottom, so this is how I'm going to stick them together. So I've defined that now, so here and here is where I'm going to put the glue later on. Okay, I can put these over here. This is the piece of thick whisper white which goes upright, and I've decorated it with the Artistic Mix decorative dies. I think it gives just a lovely colour, and it's not all that starkly white. I'm going to show you how to do that. Putting in my paper again. Here you have the mask, and I've already done this edge, so I'm going to adhere the paper to the mask, and I'm sticking it down really well, because when you're using a blending brush, of course you will be putting some force onto the mask and the paper. And then I'll just open this one, makes it easier. Blending brush and soft seafoam ink. When you ink up your brush, it'll be, when you touch the paper the first time, it'll be darker. So I'm starting off the paper and then I'm going across in circular motions. And it doesn't show really well here, but when I've taken the mask off you will see that I really did ink the paper underneath it. It doesn't have to be a uniform colour, at least I don't think it has to be. If you get a sort of ombre look, that looks fine as well, but every time you can see that I'm starting off the paper. If you think there's an area which isn't dark enough, you can go across it again. And I clean the mask just by holding it under a tap, and then it's clean. I think that should do it. And now for the big reveal. Ta-da! Looks lovely, doesn't it? You see that this side is more ombre looking than the other, but that's fine. Just remove the backing, not the backing, I'll just remove my sticky tape. And oh my word, I forgot to put the happy birthday on the... Will I be able to do it still? I have no idea. I'll try to hold it down. Oh, I don't think I can. I think it'll be extremely tricky. I'll go and make, I'll just show you how I should have done it. I'll make a new bar. Sorry about that. As you can see, I've taken the piece of cardstock and drawn the lines on it, and I'm going to cut it down to 4 inches. And then I'm going to score it again at every 1 inch. Then I'm going to fold the score lines, because that makes it easier for me to see where I'm stamping. Okay, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you want the one which is shorter, 7/8 of an inch, you want that at the top, and then you're going to stamp on the second and the third. That's where you want the sentiment. That looks great, and I would never have been able to do that while the bar is together. Oh, do not stamp upside down. And then I'm going to put my bar together. If anyone knows a better name for those 2 little blocks at the bottom, please let me know. I wouldn't know in Dutch either. So let's repeat that. This is how I want them to go together. So, and that is easy enough to do. I'm using liquid glue on both of these bars. I'm sticking to bar now, come hell or high water. Okay, my neighbours are getting a delivery. And the windows are open because it's quite warm today. And I like this side best, so I'll put it in. And then you see, I'll just make sure that it's against the bottom and that the edges align. And then I can just push that one across as well. And then pinch. And again, push it down a bit so that it aligns on all the sides. You could even push from this end if you want to. And this is how the card stays upright. Again, pinch a bit in the middle, your fingers in there to make sure the glue adheres well. And then it's time to adhere all the elements. I start with one bowl and I use mini glue dots. The first one on the right I want on flat. It helps if you push the card flat, and then you put the bottom edge just a tiny bit higher than the folded edge, so that when the card folds up, you see, it looks almost as if it's standing on that bar. So I'm going to adhere all of these, and I'm using different kinds of glue. For this one I'm using the Seal Plus because it's big enough to take it, and you can see I'm putting it just over the other bowl. Oh god, I forgot the whipped cream here, didn't I? Ooh, I'm lucky, there's still room for that. Oops. So whipped cream, put it on before you put the second glass on. But I can still lift it, see, can go underneath. There we go. Whew. Otherwise I would have had to do it again. Are the mini dimensionals. Because I want that bowl there to pop, you see, it pops up a bit. First I'm going to put the spoon on, and where's my spoon? There we go. I'll remove the backing. And I want the spoon to go there. So I could have used a mini glue dot as well, or even a mini dimensional. I'm going to use a mini dimensional, an extra one, to put on top of the spoon. There we go. And then I'll put the cream on. And you see, I want the spoon to be over the cream, so I'll put the cream on top of the spoon. That's it, and that's where the comes the adhesive sheet comes in handy, and I'm putting 2 small mini glue dots, not mini glue dots, Karen, dimensionals on top. It's a bit complicated, this one. I hope I'm making sense to you. And I could have used fewer if I'd remembered to stick the spoon down first, but there you go. That's what crafting is like. You can always change your plans. Remove the backing paper. And then this one can go on top of the other one. Right. And then the cream, which I prepared before. You see there I did remember to put the dimensional on to hold down the drinking straw. This can have some dimension too. I like that idea. And then all I have left are the hearts and the cherries. I'm adhering the hearts with liquid glue, and I'm adhering the cherries with the mini stamping dimensionals. And another project finished. That's it for today. The link to the video that I promised you on how I hand coloured the cherries is there. All the details for this card are on my blog, and the link to the blog post is in the description box below. Thank you very much for watching. Dankjewel voor het kijken, and see you next time. Bye bye, tot ziens. I think I'll go and have an ice cream now.